Welcome to the Ray Amanat Show. Wake the fuck up, America.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in social media or TV land or on the OBBM network. Welcome to the Ray Amanat Show. I, of course, am Ray Amanat, your host, the hostess with the mostest in this holiday season. For those of you that are interested in learning more about us or would like to get in contact with us, you can reach us at just email me at info@therayamanatshow.com. Again, that is info@therayamanatshow.com. We would like to, as always, thank the OBBM network for having us as part of their network of conservative talk shows. You can go to the obbmnetwork.tv, search The Ray Amanat Show, and look at our current and all our past episodes if you've missed any. You can also watch any of the other programming that the OBBM network has. They have other more news shows and conservative talk shows that are about other issues that happen around our country. The OBBM is a growing TV network, and we are very happy to be a part of this network. So thank you, OBBM. Go to obbmnetwork.tv. So, in this I'm Just Saying episode, we're going to have a special interview. Normally, you don't see her. Producer Debbie is in the background. Well, you guys all get to see her in action. She's doing the interview with me. And we're going to be talking about the past and the present. This is more a historical point of view on why there was a red wave with this last election where Donald Trump pretty much had a mandate by the people of this country saying, we the people have had enough. So let's see what Debbie has to say. And welcome to the Ray Amanat Show. I am here with a special treat for you guys because normally she works behind the scenes. We're interviewing producer Debbie today with the Ray Amanat Show. So welcome to being on the show.
Thank you.
Rather than behind the scenes.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
So today we are actually going to talk about why we think, and this is an opinion-based show, why we think there was such a red wave with regards to Donald Trump being elected our president of the United States. And producer Debbie has gone through notes and lots of research, and we're actually going to do a little bit of a history lesson where this is in comparison to when we actually founded our country with the founding fathers. 2025 or 26 is going to be the 250th anniversary of the birth of our country, the Great Experiment. So let's dive in. So producer Debbie.
Yes.
Can you get into a little bit about the redcoats, the English government, and when us as the settlers came to this land, and what is that? How is that in comparison to the Democratic Biden agenda?
Well, I'll start with I had been thinking during the election and after the election that it felt like I've heard there were rebirth or reset used. It just seemed like all of a sudden things had stopped and we were getting back to the fundamentals. We were getting back to the way the Constitution was made. And I just kind of felt like it was almost the new administration was kind of a redo, a new founding fathers type thing with wanting to get back and make the government smaller and make it more efficient. And that's how the conversation started. Um, the colonists were subjects of Great Britain. They weren't Americans when they came here. They were British colonies. So Great Britain was the government. The king was the government. Um, the revolution came about when they started being uh, um, confined as far as their liberties, their rights, all kinds of things. And then
The
they started
taxation without
right.
representation.
And so just like our country now feels like they were being confined, they weren't being heard, their voices weren't being listened to. And then there was a revolution, the red wave, people who never voted Republican before suddenly were. That's kind of the same. I saw a correlation between the two.
So give us a breakdown of how that looks.
Well, 45% at the time, 45% were patriots, and about 15 to 20% were loyalists to the king. They liked being English. They liked being part of the Great Britain. And then there was the part that either were undecided or they just weren't declaring because of fear. They may have been business people who dealt with the English government and they were afraid of repercussions. And again, that was a lot like in our time when a lot of people who were Trump supporters were afraid to speak out because as soon as they did, they were attacked. They were called horrible names. Their businesses were attacked, and it kept them quiet. So again, that was a correlation there. The free trade, we are now being told, or we were being told, there's going to be mandates. You're going to have all electric cars by a certain time. You're not going to be able to have gas stoves. You're not going to have this. You're not going to have that. The British government,
and that's the Green Deal that we're talking about.
The British government at the time had said where the business people were trading with people all over the world. They were getting tea from India, from everywhere, and paper from different places. And the English government, the king, said, no, you're English subjects, you're going to buy from England. And so suddenly they were told what they could buy, where they could buy it. And then on top of that, the king decided, well, since we have to ship it over to them, we're going to call it an import, and we're going to tax them for buying imported goods, where they had no choice other than to buy imported goods. So there comes one of the taxations without representation.
So not only do we have to get everything from England, but England can set the price and England can tax us for the import. Does that sound kind of familiar with what's happening with us now and with inflation and everything that we're going through with high gas prices, high food prices, high everything else? It's by design, not necessarily by, well, this is the sign of the times. So,
well, the money also wasn't being used for the betterment of the country. The money was just being used to make Great Britain and the king richer. So it was just a revenue.
so you're saying that all the revenue is to go make all the senators and congressmen and everyone that started off in politics with barely $1 to their name, making maybe 100,000 a year, and now they're all multi-millionaires. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and don't worry, there's some on the right also, some of the
Joe
Republicans. Joe Biden.
Who started out with a worth of, I think, 200,000 and is now worth many million.
And that's all from selling Hunter Biden's paintings, I'm sure.
Sure.
All right. So, what's the next bullet point that you've got that shows that correlation between then and now?
Well, the British soldiers that were here, the king decided that the colonists should be responsible for all of their goods, anything they needed. If they needed housing, they needed clothes, they needed food, they needed health care, whatever they needed, the colonists had to pay it out of pocket. And it wasn't an out and out tax, or it wasn't a fund they paid into. They actually had to, if there was a soldier that needed something, they had to pay it out of pocket, which is a huge correlation to the population that has been coming across the borders illegally or flown in, and the taxpayer now has the burden of supporting them, of giving them housing, giving them clothing, giving them health care, phones, whatever they need. Education, yes.
Just everything.
Yes,
that's
and that
under
was with the soldiers, their families. If they had children over here, most of them didn't, but some of them did.
So England sent as many people as they could to try to keep the English influence. And Democrats now were trying to bring as many people from overseas, illegal aliens, to be able to keep their democratic power or their democratic influence, because they're actually looking for voters.
Right, exactly. Well, the English didn't have voters, they had the king. He just told them what to do.
Right.
But here, yes, they're looking for the voters.
The king would be those in power, which would be
yes. If you think of the king and the British Empire, if you say government, because that was the government, his word was the government. It's the same as our government. So that if you think of it as government rather than the king, you think of the correlation a little bit clearer. The judicial system was weaponized by the king. In England, they had the right to a jury trial.
Tell me more.
I will, Mr. Amanat. But when the colonists were here, Great Britain said, I don't think you need a jury trial. I think we'll just put in judges that we trust, and whatever that judge says about what you did is the verdict we'll have. And if anyone doesn't like it, well, you can always buy a ticket back to England and go back there and have your jury trial in England, which most of the colonists couldn't afford. So they had appointed judges who owed their appointment to the crown, who aren't going to make a judgment in any way that's going to upset the crown. And so it was very unfair.
So I'm going to be devil's advocate. They could say that Donald Trump is going to do the same thing, where he's going to appoint his judges and appoint his DAs and everything else. But is he doing it for the will of the people, or is he doing it for the will of the government? So the DOJ has been weaponized. The FBI has been weaponized to go after their political opponents, Donald Trump and any other Republican that went against the Democrat Party as far as their agenda is concerned. The way I see it is Donald Trump appointing judges and everything else. He's appointing people that are going to uphold the Constitution versus appointing people that Joe Biden did and Barack Obama did and Bill Clinton did that are going to not uphold the Constitution, but uphold their agenda.
Correct.
The religion of a socialist or communist way of living.
And to take that a little bit further, Trump supporters a lot of time are called Trump followers. I'm a Trump supporter. I don't follow him.
You racist.
I don't worship him. I support him because he says he's going to do the things that I think need to be done. I think we need to get back to the Constitution. And I think most people that support Donald Trump think the same way. They support him not because of who he is, but because of what he says he'll do, which is in alignment with what we want. Now, having said that, I think his supporters, for the most part, are patriots. And if he doesn't do what he says, if he tries to do whatever the left says he's going to do, become a king, we will step in and stop him, because the power of his movement isn't him. The power of his movement is us.
We the people.
We the people. And so he has we the people watching him. So it's not that we're followers and we do whatever he says. No, no, no. He is following our needs and our wants.
So what's the next talking point or bullet point in comparison from then till now?
Well, another thing they weren't happy with were laws were being passed without representation. Now, executive order, every president except for one, Harrison, is the only one who didn't use it. Every president has used it. So it's not the executive power being used that's the problem, it's how it's being used. And Biden has used it that in ways that have taken liberties away, especially during COVID. I think COVID woke a lot of people up. In the colonial times, Great Britain banned gatherings. That's why they would meet in pubs and this and that in small groups, because they were banned. The gatherings were banned. Because of COVID, even those kinds of meetings were getting banned.
So, let's not go to church, but it's okay to go to strip clubs, I guess.
Right.
Or gentlemen's clubs.
So I think that was a throwback. That was a wake up call. That was a correlation between the two. And there's been a lot of other laws that with climate change, abortion, commerce. I think it left over half the country just feeling they were unrepresented completely. They didn't have a say in any of these things.
So the uprising of the amount of voters that voted for Donald Trump isn't necessarily because, Donald Trump is a rock star. It's because of the disconnect the Democrats have. And that was Kamala Harris's problem, was not being able to connect with the American people. And Donald Trump is, out there, serving French fries and driving a garbage truck and talking to people and actually sitting down and asking them what they want change to improve their way of living.
Right.
And you have somebody that's listening to you versus you have somebody that's telling you how your life would be better and this is what you need to do that. My mom will tell you that I grew up never listening to a word she said, that I was oppositional, and I never listened to her. And if I did, I would probably not be here talking to you right now. I would be, who knows, doing something idiotic that I would not be happy doing. So next talking point. We've got more, people. We've got more. We're going to try to cram it in one segment, but hey.
Trump right now is getting criticized about his picks for his cabinet.
Right.
And a lot of the criticism said that they're too young and that they're inexperienced. And I did a little bit of research into it. Most of the people he's picking are, I would say, 40s, late 30s, early 50s, in that group range. On July 4th, 1776, when our Declaration of Independence was signed, we think of our forefathers as being these old, stoic men who did the signing. Now, these names I'm going to read off aren't all siders. Some of them are. Aaron Burr was only 20 years old on July 4th, 1776. Alexander Hamilton was 21. James Madison, one of our founders, 25. John Hancock, 39. George Washington himself, only 44 years old. Thomas Jefferson, 33 years old. And as a matter of fact, that same year, he authored the first draft of our Constitution at 33. So these are our founding fathers. These are the people who formed our country. These are where the fresh ideas, these are where the idea of liberty and justice came from, is this age group right here. And the medium of that age group was about 40 years old.
So Donald Trump is kind of getting away from the good old boys club.
Exactly.
And bringing in the people that have the Elon Musks and everyone that have the fresh new ideas that are going to address the generations that we have now and the future, because technology is advancing so fast. We have to have the people that are in the now and that are currently up to date with technology to be able to adapt laws and amendments or whatever else that would keep things in check so that AI doesn't get out of control, or Bitcoin or any of that doesn't get out of control, that there is some form of regulation over that. But the good old boy club, I don't think really understands any of that. So Donald Trump is bringing in people that are in the know of that and will be able to get the input that we need to come up with the decision making to handle our future.
Forward thinkers.
Does that sound about right?
Yes, forward thinkers. And that's what happened with our founding fathers. They were forward thinkers. They saw a future that they wanted to get to. They weren't, the here and now wasn't good enough for them. And the government, the British government, the king was trying to stop it because he was part, even though he was only 38, he was still part of that good old boy, stoic, this is the way we've always done it, and the rich get richer mentality. So,
well, that is going to about wrap it up for us. So we hope that gave you a little bit more insight as to why the people rejected the Democrat Party for the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and accepted the Republican Party, because it wasn't just Trump that they were wanting. It was the ideas that they said they're promising us would help our personal futures improve so that we can have better gas prices and lower grocery prices and lower housing prices, so people can actually live without the government cramming things down our throat all the time.
get our liberties back.
Yes. Thank you for watching, and we hope you tune in to our next show of The Ray Amanat Show. I'm Ray Amanat, and
Debbie Schofield, and
also
please
known
like and
as-
share.
also known as Producer Debbie.
Producer
Like
Debbie.
and share and follow us on our YouTube page and everything else. Thank you. We'll see you next time, and have a happy Thanksgiving. And I'm back live here in studio. I hope you liked that little history lesson with Producer Debbie and myself. We'll do more segments like that with regards to Donald Trump's picks, decisions that they make, and we'll do comparisons from the past and the present, and we'll kind of see if Donald Trump is truly trying to be the king or the Hitler like the left say he's going to be, or if he's going to be our nation's hero, in my opinion, bringing a reset back to common sense in our country. That is all the time that I have. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. So may the beauty of and blessings of Thanksgiving bring warmth and peace to you, your home, this season. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And we've got Clucky the chicken here that, hey, Clucky, you know it's Thanksgiving, right? You know you look delicious right now. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode of The Ray Amanat Show. Take care.
Welcome to the Ray